peoples! Okay, so today I'm going to do that Alice in Wonderland retelling book review that I told you guys, or at least hinted about in my past couple videos. And you can actually see it right there, which book I'm going to be reviewing today. Biscuit is not going to be in this video right now. Currently, she might come in later because she likes to come in at the weirdest times. But I do have my Dunkin' Donuts pumpkin spice coffee, so I'm happy about that for the video. So the series is called the Realm series by Emory R. Frie. We're only going to be reviewing the first book in the series, but the second book is called Neverland, and I will get to that in a separate book review. I will explain more of my thoughts on that one. I'm going to set it right there for now. I also have a Snow White picture up for this video. My other paintings are somewhere else, so we're using Snow White right now. But the first book in the Realm series is called Wonderland, and it is by Emory R. Frie. I will have a link below to the author's website. This is a self-published series, and it is fairytale retelling mashup. I will also have linked below a book review for the first two books in the series, okay? And there are no spoilers in that review if you want to look at that one instead, because I'm going to be having spoilers in this one. Not a whole lot, obviously, because I don't like to spoil too much for people. I still want them to be surprised, but I will tell you the gist of the story and the ending, etc., etc. And there will still be more for you guys to discover on your own, so I'm not spoiling every single thing in the book, so yeah. So with this series, I actually had been going through a book phase when I discovered it. And if you've been here, then you know I go through book phases rather often, actually. When I found this series, the author had just self-published this first book, and so on Pinterest, actually, she had some pins and boards for it, and I am a Pinterest fanatic, so I got on there, found that, and was like, oh, I'm going to check this out. It was actually exactly what I've been looking for, because the book phase I was going through at the time had been a fairytale mashup I wanted, that specifically I wanted Alice and Mad Hatter, Peter and Wendy kind of thing. And, okay, I didn't realize what all would be in this, okay? I just saw, oh, that looks so pretty. The author actually made the cover herself, and it's super pretty, and it's fairytale retellings, okay? So I got it from Amazon, and I started reading it, and it was exactly what I wanted, which that is extremely hard to find in the book community when you really, really want something, and then you find it while you're wanting it. That's hard for me to find, honestly. I usually find it after I no longer want it. But so, yeah, this first book, okay, there are going to be 5 books total in the series. The first 3 books are already out. I have read books 1 and 2. I need to buy book 3 and then read it. And book 4, actually, the cover's already been released, and it's coming out either at the end of this year or early next year, I believe. I'm not for sure when, because the author's still like writing it, revising, and editing. But we have the cover reveal, so should be soon, hopefully. But in each book, it is 5 protagonists, okay? But in each book, you can tell based on the name and who's on the cover, who it's mostly going to be their point of view. So in this first one, we have more of Alice's point of view, because it has to do with Wonderland. So her memories and a lot of her backstory is more in this one. However, we do still learn more about the other characters, and they're more introduced as fellow protagonists. It's just, in the first one, we get more Alice's point of view. And in the second one, to explain more, I'm going to just tell you this. It still is the same 5 characters. They are all protagonists, so we get all of their point of view, but we also, because it's Neverland and Wendy's on the cover, we get more of Wendy's story and backstory. Okay, because this one has to do with Neverland more of. So more of her telling about Neverland. So then in this one we have Alice telling more about Wonderland. Make sense? I hope that makes sense. Okay, so this book is after returning from Wonderland again, Alice Liddell has been sent to the facility, an asylum specially designed for others like her. Okay. I'm just going to read that first line so that makes more sense. So after she's gone to Wonderland, so it starts out, Alice has already been to Wonderland. She tells us some of her memories about it through flashbacks and stuff, and explains more of what happened, which was really interesting, actually. And while she's in the facility, she meets 4 other people that are like her, okay? And I kind of already spoiled who one of them was. So they are Wendy Darling, Kai from The Snow Queen, Jack from Jack and the Beanstalk, or Jack and the Giant Slayer, I think it's both, and then Little Red Riding Hood. So, yeah, it is several fairy tale mashups, okay? They're all in this asylum, and not all of them are willing to share their story, whereas Alice is like telling them about Wonderland because she's supposedly crazy. So she's very open and willing to tell that kind of stuff about Wonderland, even though she knows they're going to think she's crazy. They're in an asylum anyways, so. But the others aren't as willing to tell their stories about their places very much. But they do hint that they had similar stuff like Alice. They had encounters with stuff. And Wendy actually opens up with Alice first and tells her about Neverland. And then it is very interesting. I'm not sure what timeline or what era we're in this series, because we actually spend more time in Wonderland in this book than we do outside of it, because when we're outside of it, we're in the asylum, and I have no idea what time period it is. So, yeah. But, so, this mashup has all those different characters, and like I said, there's really only 2 places where we're at in this book, which is Wonderland and the facility, okay? And then they escape from the facility, and they go to save the Mad Hatter from the Queen of Hearts in Wonderland. And a lot of backstory and memories Alice shares with the story and makes it really good, because it's a retelling and it's different than the original. So, yeah. So we get the backstory from the Queen of Hearts, who is the villain, and I would not suggest this series as a middle grade specifically. Depends. There is some violent things for the Queen of Hearts, such as the Queen of Hearts can take your heart from your chest kind of thing and make you like a walking zombie kind of person. Because of that, I wouldn't say it's for younger people, but I read it when I was 13, so I mean, it just depends if you are okay with that certain thing, because I know some people that are 16, 17, and that kind of stuff, like real violent kind of stuff, bothers them. So it really just depends what you're okay with, I guess. But we get the Queen of Hearts backstory. We get a lot of other things. There are things that are hinted at with the other characters, and since it's a retelling mixed with other retellings, we're going to discover the other characters' backstories in the other books. But, yeah, so turns out Alice and Mad Hatter, Remus, I think I'm saying that right, actually are kind of together. So that explains why she really wants to save Remus, the Mad Hatter, from the Queen of Hearts. There's a lot of really good things in here. I don't want to spoil too much, so I'm just going to skip and tell you guys the ending real quick. I'm going to be a little vague, but so afterwards it turns out that all of them, Wendy, Kai, Jack, Red, and Alice, their stories were all intertwined and happened for a reason. And so the White Rabbit and the White Queen are talking with them, and they're trying to figure out what's going on. So they give Alice the White Rabbit's compass, and they discover that it's a magical object that lets them travel to other worlds, the other realms, that they need to. Okay, so remember that the other fairy tale characters, Red, Kai, Jack, and Wendy, have been in the facility for longer than Alice. They've been missing for a while. Wendy's been missing from Neverland for a while, and people are getting worried. So they have to travel to the realms and fix some stuff that's going on, because apparently all the villains are ganging up together and causing some problems with the realms. So, yeah, that's actually pretty vague. If you've read this, you get why that's actually more vague. Though that is spoilery, it is vague as well, so I don't spoil too much of the reading experience for you guys. If you've read this, please let me know, because I have met no one that has read this series, and I really, really love this series. Like 5 stars to it all. It is amazing, and I love it so much. I suggest reading it to anyone, which is saying something, because I have a hard time suggesting something to anyone, like everyone, because we all have different reading things. Some of us are okay with certain things, some of us are not, but I would actually suggest this to anyone. So if you have read this, please, please let me know. If you have not, I would really suggest reading it, unless you're a person that really does not like fairy tale characters or retellings at all, which I have not met anyone that doesn't like that, but you never know. So the Alice in Wonderland book review that I promised you guys, and I'm thinking next month I'm going to do Peter Pan related stuff, because there's a lot of Peter Pan. I don't know why, but Alice in Wonderland and Peter Pan are like the 2 biggest fairy tale retelling stuff. I don't know how that each retelling can be so different, considering there's so many. But yeah, so thank you guys for watching. If you liked it, click like. Biscuit's finally here for the video. She wasn't for most of it, but she's here now, so don't fall off. Ow, Biscuit. Thank you guys for watching. Bye. Oh, real quick, I also have some other Alice recommendations for you guys. I know I did the video Alice plus Zombies for Alice in Wonderland zombie retellings, and there are more than just the 3 that I listed, but I didn't remember their names and I didn't have them with me, so I only had those 3 in the video. So the rest, other Alice in Wonderland retelling recommendations that I have for you guys is After Alice by Gregory Maguire. I have not read this one yet, but I've heard a lot about it, and I've been really wanting to read it, and it's really pretty, actually. But I do know it's another Alice in Wonderland retelling that I plan to read soon. The Looking Glass Wars by Frank Bador. This is a trilogy. This is the first book in the trilogy. And I think it's steampunk, but I'm not for sure. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it looks so cool. It sounds amazing, and I actually talked my brother into reading that with me soon, so I'm excited to start that. One that I have read is Heartless by Marissa Meyer. I know this is not, I know Alice does not take place in this, but it does take place in Wonderland, and it is the Queen of Hearts, so it kind of fits, actually, whether Alice is in it or not. It's kind of like a prequel to Alice in Wonderland, if you will, by Marissa Meyer. I finally read this, and I loved it a lot, so I finally bought a copy. I'm super excited about that. Another 2 you guys have probably already seen if you saw my Alice plus Zombies video. Alice in Zombieland by Gina Showalter. I cannot say her name very well. The thing about this, though, is that though it fits into the Alice in Wonderland and zombie thing, the only thing it really has in common with Alice in Wonderland is that her name is Alice. Yeah, her name is Alice, and she looks like Alice Liddell, and the white rabbit is a cloud in the sky. That's really it. There's not really anything that ties it into Alice in Wonderland, so I don't know why. It is an Alice in Wonderland retelling, but it's not exactly, if you get my point. Another one is Umberland by Wendy Spinell. The thing about this one is that it is a sequel, and the first book was a Peter Pan retelling, a Peter Pan dystopian steampunk retelling. This one is a Alice in Wonderland steampunk dystopian retelling that has the same characters from the first one. So kind of like another mashup of retellings as well. So those are my recommendations for Alice. I really wanted to give you guys some more recommendations than just the 3 that I'd listed, so I just wanted to add that real quick. So thanks for watching, guys.